So, with needs and wants, I want to take this for like a different approach to this tonight. And like when we think of like our needs versus our wants, we usually think about them like these categories. Like, what do I want in my fitness? What do I need in my fitness? For my fitness, I, where is that place? Like a need, like where we want or where we need to be fit wise. What does that look like? Most of the time, that's pretty vague. I was like, I just need to be about this fit, or I just need to. These are the same people that will say, I don't really need like to see my abs, but I just want to be healthy. So there's a very low level of fitness. When we think of physique, there's some people that's like, I need to see my abs. Like that's what I want. That's my desire. Uh, you can you can also like just go down the list of wealth and all these connotations and connections that we have for communication, the people around us, again, like outside programming, what we actually want versus what we've been told that we need. Wealth is a massive thing there. Experiences, life experiences, vacations, whatever, the clothes we wear, the cars we drive, travel, and pretty much just like your life or your life by design. Like you're choosing one of those two things. This is where people will come up to, the point where they're thinking about maybe you're a person that has never really thought about, well, what do I actually want? Like, what's my desire? And when you think about that, maybe you hear yourself saying, if I can just have this, if I could just have that, and you're automatically on an unconscious level relegating what you actually want down to what you think you either deserve or what you can acquire, right? So we're asking this from a place of like an internal place, or we have other people that are asking us this same question. Like, do you really need that? Do you really need to see your abs? Do you really need that car? Do you really need that big house? Like, you don't need that. Like, you don't need to be that fit. You don't need to go to the gym that much. You don't need to work out that much. You don't need to go to the pool and be 100% thrilled with the body that people see that you've worked for. You don't need that much money. You don't need all those experiences. You don't need those nice clothes. Like those are the things that we hear from outside sources. And sometimes we filter what we want through that as well. Because there's two levels of need. What we know we need, like the bare minimum to survive, survival mode. You've probably heard me say this before, but like we will do whatever it takes. We will compromise almost any position we have on anything in our life to survive. And then it's what we've been informed from outside sources that we need. Or a better way to say this is what we're actively told we should be happy with. You know what? You should be happy with that car. I know it's 15 years old, but you know what? It still runs, and there's people out there that don't have cars. You should be happy with that house. I know it's really small, but you know what? There's people out there that don't have houses. And you can go down this list. You should be happy with your fitness level. You should be happy with this. When people say that and it makes you feel a certain way, like, am I doing this simply for this pursuit of selfishness? I'm actually doing these things and focusing on myself so I can show up at 100% for my family, for my business, for the people around me. And probably a better question to ask in those situations is like, according to whom? Like, who is saying and accepting that you don't need that? You don't need this. This is what you need. Typically, when we're having these conversations, what someone thinks that you need is not in your best interest. right? What someone thinks that you deserve is much lower than what you do deserve and what you desire. And when you're in that place of, this is like the massive struggle that we have sometimes when we're designing this life, designing, all these different categories, is I want this. And then we automatically, again, this is like an unconscious thing, say, yeah, but do I need that? Do you have to need it to want it? Do you have to need a second car to want a second car? Do you have to need that, nice pair of jeans at the boutique, or that nice dress or jacket or whatever to want it? No. Do you deserve it? Sure. Man, I feel like we deserve an infinite level. We're the ones that relegate what we think we deserve, right? So I want everyone to kind of look at this, read this, and let this resonate. Like, your life can be as big and awesome as you allow it to be. Like, your impact can be felt through every single person you meet into the people that meet them, if that's what you desire. Like, that life that you want, like, you can have that. You are the one that is setting the level of awesomeness in your life. But then, like, when you think about, like, what do you want for yourself? And we talk about life by design. We talk about what we want to look like, feel like. We program future memories and that type of thing. But everything else aside, and you're the only person that you're designing, like, what fitness level do you want to be at? What is your physique like? What do you want to see in the mirror when you get out of the shower? What level of wealth do you want? Like, one day when you look in your bank account, how much money you want to see in there? When you look at your overall investments or whatever, and those opportunities, what do you want that to be like? Experiences is vast. Like, what kind of life experience do you want to have? Do you want to have an experience where you can go to Spain and run with the bulls? Do you want to have an experience where you can go out on safari and actually, like, go touch a wild elephant? Like, I think those are cool things. But if that's not something that resonates with you at a soul level, then, like, don't put that in that box, right? And that it all kind of comes down to that life by design, and designing these things in a compartmentalized fashion. So this is the training I want to do tonight. And I've gone through this with some of my one-on-one clients. I remember the first time I went through it with a mental programmer. It was a really cool experience. So again, just thinking about what we want and thinking about what we need. Like, when you are actually visualizing the life that you want to have, and you're actually living that life, like, how does that feel? Like, really tapping into those emotions. Oh, wow. Is that, again, it was like, is that a heart pounding goal? Is that an idea? Is that a concept that you are, like, rushing into from like an emotional perspective? And then think about what you need. Like, think about it like this: what you have to make every month to live, the bare minimum that you have to have. Is a stark contrast between that, right? So we've just considered the emotional height of having the life that we desire. And then we've considered the emotional depth of surviving and doing whatever it takes to just live. And when you consider that, you feel one way emotionally, probably light, airy, big smile on your face. And when you think about the other, it automatically kind of feels like someone just kind of pushes your shoulders down and you feel like this weight, and it may get hard to breathe because you're putting yourself in a state of survival. And when you're in survival mode, everything gets really small. That's not like tunnel vision or focus. It's that your peripheral vision, kind of like your mind's eye, goes to this place where you're only focusing on just now, and you get very scarce minded. You feel that emotion and that energy emphasis, like we're placing on survival. Like, I don't doubt that anyone watching this video, anyone on this call right now, is someone that is going to just like bow down to life circumstances and say, well, I tried. You're going to fight tooth and nail to survive. We all are. That's how we're built. But think about the energy and the emphasis we're putting on that. And take that same emotional state that you're in right now as you're thinking about just doing everything that you possibly freaking can do to just survive, and all the energy you're putting into that, and shift that to what you want, right? So it's like if you told me, oh my God, with my family, we have to clear 15K monthly to live. We want to make 150K, but monthly we have to bring in 15K. That pays for our life. And I mean, it's not awesome, but we're not flying around on a private jet. But we want to bring in 150K in our business. Say I've got a combined business with me and my husband, and we have this goal, and this is where we want to be living. But we know we have to make this just to live, right? So whenever I have these conversations with people and they tell me that, and I can see it on their face, I can hear it in their voice, I can hear the scarcity and the intensity of, I've got to make 15K. No, like, we're not going to live 3 days after if we don't make that. Like, we both know we have to make that. And then go through this quick training, like just this 4-step process, and say, okay, take all that energy and all that emotion you're putting on this and the emphasis, and just slide that over to the life that you want. And you can see them lift up. You can see their countenance change, and you can tell there's a difference in their voice because they've never been given the opportunity to take everything that they put into just surviving, to taking that same amount of emotion and emphasis and putting it on chasing and pursuing exactly what they want, and forgetting about what people think that they should have and what they just need to survive. And they feel like this thing is where we want to be, and automatically it feels like something that is actually attainable, because they know that if they can work this hard and put that much stress and emphasis and intensity into just surviving, they can take that same amount of emotion and energy and intensity and thrive. So no one's ever showed them that they could. All right, let's come off mute and chat a little bit. I know this is a little bit different concept for some people. But I've never gone through this training with someone where I couldn't tell that this wasn't something that they'd ever experienced or even considered in their life prior to like this 4 steps. And that's also like just about everyone on here. We've had the same conversation of, do you know what you want? Giving yourself permission to go after it is going to be the massive first step. And focusing on what you want and taking that focus off what you don't want. Because how many know if you're walking on the sidewalk and you start looking at this house, that you'll probably fall into somebody's fence or something because you can't be looking at something this direction and continue walking this direction. Like, we want ultimate focus on desire, unrelegated by ourselves. And definitely, probably the massive thing here in this training is allowing yourself to pursue what you want, what you've set as your desire, without the negative influence or constraint of those around you.